So many people would call this how to strengthen your subconscious, how to make your subconscious more powerful. But to me, it's actually how to master your subconscious, because essentially what you're trying to do is to not let your subconscious dictate who you are. In other words, you're not letting the subconscious be that something that's unintentionally been programmed throughout your life, through your past experiences, through your past programming, but rather you're giving it conscious, intentional programming in the way you want it to be. And so this leads to what actually the subconscious is. The subconscious is your habits. The subconscious is the things that you do with no intention, that the things you are very good at doing without any effort, without giving much thought, whether it's on an emotional level, whether it's like feeling something or thinking something or actually physically doing something. But before I go into more details about that, in this video I'm gonna give you 3 ways in more details to actually give you an understanding of how to master your subconscious. And the first way is to give, like I was saying, it's to give attention, to give intention, attention and consciousness to your subconscious. And I'm gonna go into more details about this just later in this video. The second way is affirmations. But I'm gonna tell you how to do affirmations the right way it's meant to do, because if you're just blabbering meaningful sentences in a meaningless way, then it absolutely have no effect. And that's why you would find many people, I've heard many people in different videos before, to actually revoke or reject the concept of affirmations as something that has no power or no effect, especially people who are not inclined to spirituality that much. But regardless. And the third way is to indulge in mindful experiences, is to consciously connect to what's beyond, to consciously connect to the infinite, being mindful, sitting with yourself and listening to your body, and in turn actually listening to what's beyond your body, things such as meditation, yoga, exercising, or being out, or just being out in nature. Hello you lovely infinite beings, right onto your path of exploring the infinite. Welcome back to another AF's Conscious Frequency video. And so to begin this video, I'd like to explain the subconscious a little bit more to give you a clear understanding, because the more you understand anything, the less power it has over you. That's a fundamental law in the universe. The more you understand a situation, the less fearful you are towards it. For example, the more you understand why someone did something, the more understanding and compassionate and considerate you become. The more you understand yourself, the less agitated, the less self-pity or guilt you have. The more you understand why you did something in the past, why you are doing something in the present, the more lenient you become regarding that thing. So whenever you understand something a little bit more, it gets less and less power over you. You're less attached to it because you understood it. You know why it is, what it is, how it is. And so the subconscious is actually your programmed, habitualized living. It is what drives you to do things that you're not consciously or intentionally thinking it. It could be simple things, just as waking up and going and doing that cup of coffee. You know exactly what to press, what buttons to press, where to go, and what kind of cup you're going to get, what the spoon and everything. You know everything, and you're just doing it without actually putting any effort. You know what you're going to do without even thinking about it. The same with driving, the same as if when you're dealing with your with your kids, for example, and then cooking at the same time, or taking your grocery bags and getting out of the car and going, using the key and going into your house with the key, and everything. You don't even have to think about it. Just like when you first started driving, you had to think about it. You had to be very conscious and very attentive to everything, with every little detail, in order for it to become a successful thing, in order for you to do it the right way. But now, a few months later, 1 month later, you don't have to even give it a second thought. Everything comes so naturally. You're not even thinking when you're driving about driving anymore. You could think about a million other things, and not driving itself, and you're still going to drive perfectly. And that's essentially what the subconscious is. But also, if you want to take a little dip into your subconscious, there's a sweet spot where you can actually know yourself a little bit more, especially with meaningful things, with the main stage you're going on in life at that moment. How your subconscious, if you want to know how your subconscious reacts to that kind of thing, to your main objective in life at any given time, then it's best to observe and notice your subconscious when you first wake up. Not your observe your mind when you first wake up. The first thing upon waking up, you're still unaffected by your programming. You're not thinking anything. You've been in sleep, in a comfortable and completely stagnant space for the past few hours, for the past several hours. And so it's like you reset, you press the reset button, and now when you first wake up, whatever you're feeling, however you're thinking, whatever thoughts comes first, and even more importantly, before any thought comes in, it's your feelings. Your subconscious is what your body feels, is what you're feeling, is what you're emotionally attached to. And so if you wake up feeling very lively and inspired and, driven to live your day and to get the best out of this day, and you're waking up early because you're motivated, then this is a good sign that you have a healthy subconscious, that everything that you're aligned, your subconscious is aligned with everything that you're currently trying to achieve or do in life. But if you wake up grumpy and fearful and shameful and you're having self-pity, and the first few moments when you first wake up, I'm talking about those moments, and observe closely how you feel. And if you feel such things, such negative emotions, then it means that your body, your subconscious, is not aligned with who you are trying to be, with what you are trying to do, and with where you are going, where you want to go in the near future. And so that gives you a good clue about how your subconscious actually functions. And now it brings us to the idea of how to actually take control over it. Now, like I said, it's best to first start with understanding your subconscious in more details, reading books, listening to professional people that are more expert on the subject, reading books. There was this book by Freud. It's called the Unconscious. I don't remember. I remember that the intake that it gave me about the unconscious, about the subconscious mind, about how our bodies, and how there's, just like we have hormonal drives, we have these all different types of drives that control how we live our day-to-day life. It gave me a good input regarding that, but I don't remember exactly what different aspects spoke about, because I read it actually a few years ago, 3 or 4 or 5 even years ago. I think it's somewhere on this shelf. Yes, by Sigmund Freud. It's this book here, and so it's very interesting. Let me read you it says it's one of Freud's central achievements was to demonstrate how unacceptable thoughts and feelings are repressed into the unconscious, from where they continue to exert a decisive influence over our lives. This volume contains a key statement about evidence for the unconscious and how it works, and major essays and fundamentals of mental functioning. Freud explores how we are torn between the pleasure principle and the reality principle, and how we often find ways both to express and to deny what we most fear, and why people so often need fetishes for their sexual satisfaction. These studies brilliantly illuminate our most basic drives and how they are transferred. Now, Freud was very convinced that sexual drives, our sexual inclinations, drive everything in our lives, in our day-to-day lives even. Because it comes from our most animalistic instinct, and from the reptilian part of our brains. And so he was convinced with that. Now there are more modern approaches to the subconscious and the unconscious, and now with neuroscience it's much more clear. So you could actually read Andrew Huberman and listen to his podcasts, and also a very brilliant scientist that I mention over and over in my videos is Joe Dispenza, and he speaks about that in a very peculiar way. He really expresses it, he really details the subconscious in a way that anyone could understand, and it's very expressive in nature, and it really delivers on what you are trying to understand. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he have several books, he have several plenty of videos and lectures on YouTube and other platforms. So a book like the Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is a good place to start. Now, moving on, after you've done your research or at least known a little bit about the subconscious, now you're able to control it a bit more consciously, more intentionally. So then the first step is to give attention, intention, and conscious to your mind. And what I mean by this is, just like I was mentioning, the first thing you do in the morning when you wake up is to notice what you're feeling, notice how your body is reacting before anything kicks in. That's your subconscious, that's coming from deep within. It's not an emotion triggered by any thought, it's not triggered by an action, it's not triggered by external environment, by other people. It's just coming from within, from your deep core, and that's your subconscious. And now when you find that you're fearful, when you find that you're guilty, when you find that you're anxious about something, or sad or mad or angry, give attention to these emotions. Don't just ignore them and wake up and go on with your day as if there's nothing. Because if you are trying to do something, if you are trying to achieve something, and you're not mastering your subconscious, you're not getting your subconscious in alignment with where you're trying to get, and your subconscious is the main place of attraction, is the main place where you manifest it, because whatever your subconscious is, it's what you're truly aligned with. It's your truth, it's what you are releasing and radiating into your quantum portal, into the field of infinite possibilities. And so it's gonna keep you stuck if you're not aligning the subconscious with what you are trying, with the conscious, with the intention. And so to give attention to those emotions that you are feeling, to give attention to little details that are habitualized, that you do over the day, during your day. If you do something and it's not something that you normally would do, sit for a moment and question it. Sit and go back inside yourself, go back within and see where it's coming from. If you got triggered by anyone for something that's so simple, we all get triggered for unnecessary reasons. We get triggered for meaningless things, with meaningless things. And if you sit and observe and go back within to ask the question, why did I get triggered? What happened here? Where is it coming from? Because that I know consciously that's not me. So where is it coming from? And now you might find that it takes some work. It's not just an instant thing. It takes some work, and it might feel uncomfortable because you're giving attention to a negative feeling. You're giving attention to you being angry, and then the more you think about it, the more you steer in different directions, and you might not get to the point so soon, and then it could make you more angry. So the point is, try to be conscious and try to take it with a light heart and freely, not with too much attachment, in order for it to actually be meaningful and not to be just worsening your case. And so when you give thought to it, when you think, when you reach to conclusions, you reach to realizations, you realize that it was actually triggered by a past experience, because you've never let go of that thing that someone did to you. And now whenever someone says something that mildly even reminds you of that thing, even if it's not happening consciously, because you did not heal that part to you, now it's triggering you. You're actually reacting again and again to a past experience. And so that keeps you in the same space. That keeps you repeating your past over and over again. So the more you give attention, the more you give intention, and you make the subconscious conscious by actually what the two other ways that I'm gonna come to next. It's making your subconscious conscious by actually healing, by giving attention, and then realizing the reason. Now you address it. Now, okay, it was fine. Now think about it deeply and make peace with it, essentially. And now you're making it a conscious thing. You're making a subconscious part more conscious by actually addressing it, by actually accepting it, by acknowledging it and giving it a different meaning. And this actually is easier with the second way to strengthening or mastering your subconscious, and that is affirmations. Now, the right way to affirm anything to you is not to just randomly blabber meaningful phrases and sentences that you find all over social media or anywhere, but the thing is to really feel it. It's best done through meditation. So that's the second way, and the third way to master your subconscious are best done together. So when you get into that meditative space, when you expand your mind, your conscious mind, when you're not very focused on one thing, when you're not in that beta brainwave state, essentially, that's all there is to it. When you get into those alpha and theta brainwaves, so it's best done even before bed and when you first wake up, because you're in that theta, alpha, you go from beta to alpha to theta, eventually to gamma, not gamma, the D. Anyway, I'm not sure right now, I can't recall it. And so you have to feel it. And so the point here with affirmation is that you have to feel them. You cannot just say them through your conscious mind and not feel them, just repeat the words over and over without feeling anything, without them really embedding onto you, without them actually printing upon your mind and onto your subconscious mind. If it's not done in this manner, that it won't really have an effect. It would be you just saying, just like you live your life and you could have a dream that you're pursuing and you're trying to attract it by forced action, by saying it over and over and over again, but it's not coming, it's not manifesting. You're not really creating because you're not feeling it. I just recently done a video about manifestation and how the key secret and the key ingredient to manifesting, to really manifest and to become the ultimate creator of your reality and to consciously create rather than you are creating repetitive experiences through your subconscious, is to feel the things. That's the most important thing, is to feel it. And so when you realize that and you start saying the words and actually feeling them, maybe even recall experiences that are going to make you feel whatever you are affirming more clearly. If you have an experience from the past that's going to reawaken those emotions within you, that emotion that you are reaffirming to yourself, that emotion that should be aligned with the affirmation you're saying. So if you are affirming, you're doing affirmations of abundance, for example, you need to feel the abundance, you need to feel the freedom of abundance, you need to feel the gratitude of abundance. If you're affirming phrases of love, if you want to attract relationships, then you got to feel the love. You must feel love. So it's good when you're recalling experiences from the past that makes you feel love, that makes you feel as if you have everything you need out of the people around you, because that gets you in alignment. If you feel like if you imagine what it would feel in a fulfilling, amazing relationship, and see how you would feel. And those are the feelings you have to reawaken within yourself. To get more details about this and how with the whole concept of manifestation work, you could go back and watch this video. And so this is how affirmations are actually done. So it cannot just be physical words meaningless, like non-felt words that you're saying. It has to be heartfelt. It has to resonate within you. You have to feel it. And a good way to do that is even to just say it over and over and over and over and over and over until your subconscious gives in, and it goes through your subconscious, it goes through your body, it flows within your body, and your body realizes it as a truth, as a current, as a present. And like I said, it's best done with meditation. So this brings me to the third way that you can master your subconscious, and that's mindful acts. Because when you take some time to yourself every day and just be mindful, then you're taking power from your subconscious, because your subconscious has its preset program. It just wants to go from one thing to another, to another, that it's already programmed to do, to love, and that it's already programmed that this is my safe space, that this is my routine. It's what the body is habitualized to indulge in and to do and to think and to feel. It just wants to feel this certain way. It wants to feel bad about this thing that happened 2 years ago. It just wants to think negative because it's mad about this thing that it's not coming in the future. It has its preset programming, and when you let go of that and you just sit in peace, in bliss, in love and gratitude to what is simply, that is, you're becoming just I am. You're becoming one with everything. You're becoming unattached to anything. You're becoming uncontrolled by anything. And in meditation you reach that stage. It's not easy. Again, nothing about this is easy. You're talking about programming something for 20 plus years, maybe 30, maybe 40, 50, I don't know, first depending on who you are. And now you're trying to master it. You're trying to regain back control over the subconscious. It's not going to be easy. It's not something that you can do in one day or 1 week. Or it depends really on who you are and how far you are on this journey already. So when you sit in meditation and you just let go of everything, you just listen to what's coming in, listen to what's coming outside of you, and listen to what's coming from outside of you, and just listen and acknowledge and just let go. I'm sure you could watch any video about how to meditate properly. You're gonna find more details about this, but it's just purely about letting go, just letting go, and then making a 1-point focus. By the way, this could even be in form of prayer, because prayer is a form of meditation. Meditation is a form of prayer. So this is actually regardless of what your spiritual affiliations is, your spiritual inclinations is. And even if you're not spiritual altogether, it does not matter. When you take attention out of something, it has less and less control, and you gain more and more control over it. You master it more and more. And so this is essentially what you're doing with meditation. You're taking control from the subconscious. You're taking control from any programming that you're dealing with. Similarly, you could just be in nature and then you're just focusing on one thing. The point here is 1-point focus. So you're just focused on one thing. With meditation, it could be your breath, it could be one single affirmation, it could be a music that you're playing in the background, it could be a candle light, it could be just a far away light, it could be just your sight if you're doing an open-eyed meditation, or if you're doing even walking meditation. There are several types of meditations, and all of them are amazing, and each of them have their own benefits and their own reasons. And so you could just, focus on what your eyesight is. If you're doing a walking meditation or open-eyed meditation, just focus on one thing. Keep your eyes open and focused in one place. And that's with time, it takes your mind out of itself. It takes you out of your mind. It takes control back from your mind, and it gives it to you, essentially to you being the true self, the one infinite being, you being in connection, when you're not your mind, when you're not your conscious, when you're not your subconscious, when you're not your body, when you're not your emotions, when you're not your thoughts. You're just being. You're just the I am. You're just the one in connection with everything around you. Now you're really connected with Source, with God. Now there's space for God to enter through you and work through you, and to be more connected, and drives you towards your real aspirations and dream lives, basically. And so similarly, it could be with just being in nature, because in nature even you're just inspired by the beauty around you, and you're just focused, and your mind starts slowing down, your breath starts slowing down, and you're focused on one thing, and it takes control out of your subconscious, because your subconscious is gonna keep nagging you to move, to do something. We're not doing this routine thing we're used to do. We're not falling into program. What are you doing? Don't remain in the state. The subconscious is not liking you. It doesn't like when you just sit idle without doing anything and not thinking about anything. If you're sitting idle and thinking, you're still feeding the subconscious, because it wants you to think about all of those negative experiences that you had throughout your day, and those experiences in the past, and fear the future and become anxious about the future. And then it awakens those emotions, and now it's in a familiar state. It's back to its habits, and now it feels alright. and now it's gaining more and more control, and now it's attracting more and more same of what you've been through. And so when you're experiencing a mindful exercise, it could even be exercising, yoga, all of these things, they all point to the same direction. They could have all have the same effect. My absolute favorite is of course meditation and being in nature, because I'm even best calm and quiet. My mind is quiet when I'm out in nature, when I'm just enjoying. I really love nature, and when I'm out there, it just I lose attachment to everything. I let go. It's easier for me to let go because I really find beauty, and I love life, and I feel gratitude to life. And so it takes everything that my subconscious, every negative thing that my subconscious is used to, away from it, and it reinvests different meanings. And now it reaffirms that you are in control. And now with time, your subconscious eventually gives in, and you make the subconscious conscious. I think that's all for today, and I wish you the best on your journey, whatever it is.